Hello, everybody, and welcome back to 50 Shades of Tay. Today, I am joined by a very, very special guest, one of my all-time favorite artists. I have Jordan Witzigreuter here, also known as the Ready Set. Jordan, how are you doing today?
I'm great, and thank you. That's very kind. I appreciate you having me. That's
Oh,
that's very awesome.
thank you for being here. You know what's crazy? So I've been listening to you since 2008, and I had to use a calculator to check the math, but I've been listening to you for over 16 years.
Wild. It's
Isn't
amazing.
that crazy to think?
Well, it's crazy also just to think that like it's been that long in general. Like it just really doesn't feel like it has, but it's wild.
Yeah, I was talking to my sister about this interview the other day, and everything seems like it was just like so recently. But
Hmm.
then when you actually think about it, we were talking about our favorite concert of yours that we went to together. And do you remember when you played at a ice skating rink?
What city was it in?
I
I
don't
think
remember. It was
I
like the
should
middle
know.
of like the desert, I think. I think I had to like drive pretty far. I want to say like maybe like Bakersfield area.
You know what? That sounds very familiar. And for some reason, off the top of my head, I was gonna be like, that seems like it was in Bakersfield. It feels like I feel like it was probably like a radio station event or something like that.
Yeah,
That
it's just
kind of thing. That's
crazy
crazy.
how time flies. Because I was talking to her and I was like, it seems like it's not that long ago. And it's like, honestly, that was probably over a decade ago.
Yeah,
Nuts.
that's crazy. But well, yeah, I feel like that's the other thing too, is there's like so many shows that like I just have like these very brief like glimpses of memories until somebody brings it up and I'm like, oh yeah, ice skating rink. Definitely.
Yeah, very crazy. So you have several albums out. One right here behind me, I Will Be
Mhm.
Nothing Without Your Love. We're going to talk about Cherryland today. Is there one that you're most proud of?
I think it's definitely for me Cherryland for sure, just because that was like like very much like a labor of love type of thing. It took me a very long time. It was all just like 100% like by myself, just like really trying to like dig super deep, conceptually and everything. And with the production and stuff, really trying to like make it, the best representation of what I've wanted the Ready Set to be. And it's kind of one of those things that like you don't really know when it's done. I just kind of had to give myself like a deadline and be like, this is finished at this time, or else you'll never finish it. So yeah, definitely that for sure.
Before we get to Cherryland, with all of your albums that you have and all the live shows you've done throughout the year, are there any songs that you wrote maybe a decade ago, decade plus, that when you perform them today, they have their meaning changed? Like maybe you wrote it at a time where you were sad, and then now you look at it and reflect on it, and it kind of has changed the way you view that song.
Um, Yeah, I think actually probably a good one would be like Disappearing Act off of I'll Be Nothing Without Your Love, just because like at that time it was kind of that song like to me was about like just where like I stood career wise or like where I like viewed myself as standing and really trying to like rationalize that in like a way that I think I was a lot more like tightly wound about it and kind of freaked out altogether. And now I think it feels a lot more, I don't know. It's like happy now in a way. It's like peaceful because I feel like I've kind of figured out how to like fully retain autonomy over that whole thing and like how, what the ready set is now because it's just like basically whatever I want it to be. And like I don't have the pressure of like, label stuff and like strict like this has to happen here. You have to do this stuff and this stuff and this stuff. It's very much just like fun, kind of like where I think it kind of like would teeter back and forth between like losing the like fun and like the pure like purpose of why I wanted to do it in the first place versus like, appeasing some, whatever industry label thing. But now it's good. So now I feel like that song is like happy fun now for me.
Oh, that's great. So when you're writing these deeply personal songs, how do you decide how vulnerable to be and how much of your personal life to include in these songs?
Um, I mean, for a long time it was really like, I mean, pretty much up until Cherryland, it was like a lot of it was like kind of vaguely related to some personal stuff, but more so just like expanding on like an idea. So it was a lot less like real like emotional connection to some of the stuff. There's like some exceptions, obviously, but I think like for the new album, that was like at first I was like, oh, I'm gonna make like if I'm gonna like return or whatever and do new stuff, like I'm gonna do like just like the fun pop stuff like before. But then I was like, no, if I'm gonna do it, like I want it to really have like true. Like I want every single thing in it to be like thought out and like have real like purpose and like intention. And that was like I think that's part of what made it like take so long and like such a difficult thing is like there'd be stuff where I'm like, this is cool and it could be done, but like I could, pull a little bit more, realness out of it, I guess. So for yeah, now for Ready Set stuff, I think I'm really trying to always do that. Whereas like before I'd kind of be like, hey, if it sounds cool, I feel like it's cool. Cause like, I don't know, sometimes I'll make something anyway, and I'm like, I don't exactly know what this is about until like three-quarters of the way through, and then I'm like, oh, this is what the song is about. I
Mm.
just figured it out, and then I'm like, that's what I was saying. It's just kind of like stream of consciousness kind of stuff.
Do you have a favorite song to perform live?
Um, hmm. I mean, a lot of the time, like, I mean, any of like the popular older ones are always fun. Like Killer is like kind of the one now that like it's weird. Like that became like the highest streaming song. I don't know why I didn't do anything to make that happen, but like that one goes off live. I love that. And then as far as like the new stuff, I think Cherryland and Loose Change are both really fun. And then yeah, I mean, some of them also like it had been so long since I had played shows with the new stuff, and like when I was recording it, I'm like, we're like doing rehearsals and stuff for the release show, and I'm like, man, I really put these songs up so high. Like the first song, Gateway, I was like, we played it, and I was like, this is really hard to sing. So Cherryland is slightly easier to sing, so that's fun.
Oh, that's good. On the flip side, is there a song that maybe you're like, oh, I don't need to perform this one anymore?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them. I think like the super early songs, like, well, actually, I think for a while there was a lot of stuff on I'm Alive, I'm Dreaming that I was like, I don't know, like it was stuff that I really made super early. Like some of it I wrote when I was like 17, 18 years old, figuring out how to write songs. So I'd be like, well, these don't make sense to me anymore because I learned how to write songs. But now thinking about those, I'm like, wait, those are actually kind of cooler because that was like pure and like I didn't really know what I was doing and like the lyrics were like weirdly obscure in a way that like now I'm like, how did I do that? What was I talking about? And how do I do that again? Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's just like there's also a lot that I just kind of like forget like exists. Like there's like on each of like the albums, there's like the handful of songs that I like recognize as being like those are you know, the main songs for the album, right? And then these like other ones I kind of just like will forget about until somebody brings it up and I'm like, oh, I could play that. That would be interesting. But I've been really into like taking pieces of the old songs recently and putting them in just like kind of like making these like medley type of things, just like fully new like production and everything. And just like we did we've been doing this like thing that it's like stays for the same into like a little section of like Young Forever and then like Hollywood Dream and then like a very brief second of like There Are Days from the first album or I guess like the second album. So that kind of thing's fun for sure. Just to like see who like you can tell in the crowd like who's been, on the Ready Set train for a long time because they'll be like, yeah, that I haven't heard that in a long time. So that's super exciting.
Yeah, no, that sounds very exciting. And my boyfriend and I were actually at your Cherryland concert at the Echo, which was back
Yeah.
in May. Crazy
Mhm.
how much time has already passed since then. And that
Yeah.
was like one of the most fun concerts I've been to ever. Just the vibe and the set you had, and then also just the crowd. I kept looking like around, and everyone was just having a great time. And everyone, what's crazy is you did the album from start to finish. And I've never seen that live. Like I know other artists have done it before, but I've never been to a concert like that. Everyone in the audience was screaming along to every single song. Like it just was so incredible. What inspired you to do a concert where you did your album from start to finish?
I mean, I wanted to do like a release show in general at some point, but I kind of wanted to do the thing where you kind of let the album kind of be out for a little bit so people have a chance to like learn the song. So it's not just like a presentation of the new songs. Like I wanted it to be like the best case scenario literally was that how that show went. Cause like I fully expected it to be like pretty chill up until the end of the album. And then like with the old songs, people would be hyped. But like right at the very beginning with like the first song, I was like, oh my God, this is exactly what I wanted. That's like I think like to me, just altogether throughout my whole like career, that's my favorite show I've ever done, just because that was like, I don't know, it was like, I guess sort of just made me feel like doing any of the new stuff does like resonate with some people. And like, I don't know, I was very surprised by it and it was cool. And we'd like put so much into like the production and like the lighting and set design stuff for it that made it feel like there was just a lot of intention and everything was like very thought out and not just like a here's a release show. Like we wanted it to be like a full experience. And a lot of it kind of came from my friend Ryan, who does all my like video and like I guess like content stuff and like sign like kind of like the creative direction stuff. He was like, you should do this, really just do the whole thing front to back. Like people will be into it. And he's like, you'll see. And I was like, okay, well, I hope so. But yeah, it was very good. Thanks for coming.
Oh
Appreciate
my
that.
God. It was so fun because I hadn't been to a show of yours, and I guess the one before that was, I think it was called like the Moroccan Room or something like that. Is that the name
Oh
of
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
with
That
Daisy
one
Bit.
was really fun. But this latest one was just like, I don't know, the energy was just perfect, and the lighting, the set design, everything was just perfect. And we both had the most fun. David, my boyfriend, actually bought the Cherryland like tie-dye shirt.
Oh, nice,
He
nice.
surprised me. He's not here right now. He surprised me yesterday and wore it
That
in
rules.
celebration of this interview. And I was like, oh, such a
Yeah.
cool shirt, such a cool event.
Thank
Uh, but Cherryland Deluxe, which you released in May of this year, has a few new songs on it, including Leech and Flow My Tears.
you. Mhm.
I was curious, were these new additions brand new songs, or were they originally recorded when Cherryland first came out, and then you saved them and put them on this release?
They were brand new. I kind of wrote them like, I mean, I think I wrote all of them like maybe a month before the deluxe thing came out. Like it
Oh,
just
wow.
there was just like a short period of time where I was like, I feel like sometimes I just like will catch a wave of like I have stuff to like write about and songs come out, like they come really easily. And then other times it's like months of like I like there's nothing. So I think I just happened to be in a space where I was like, here's some stuff. Like I'm able to just like complete songs and like have full out ideas and stuff. And so I was like, well, I better do something with these so I don't just let them sit on the hard drive forever. So yeah, they were new.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, I was really curious about that, but I love the new additions. I listen to them like on repeat. And I was wondering, so you mentioned right now, like sometimes there's like a period where you aren't creating and you're kind of stuck. I get in that situation too with video.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I don't know, I just don't feel like filming, or I just am stuck on like what's the next thing I should do. What advice would you give to someone, whether it's a songwriter or a YouTuber, to get through like these spells of just being stuck or having like a roadblock?
I mean, honestly, I think like for me, it's either like just like sit in how annoying it feels and how, just like throw yourself in it and just exist in that and accept it until something happens, which that's less fun. The other, I think, better thing to do is just don't do anything. Like just go do something else. Like get away from like the environment that you need to be in to be like creative and just go like outside or just leave the normal place you're at and just be away from it for a while. Cause like you can't just like continuously like create and have like constant output. You have to like take things in and like, you know, you have to like ingest things and like society and be around people and stuff like that. So I think just like trying not to worry about it as much and just be like, I'll get back to it when when it comes to me, and that's like easier said than done for sure. So I end up typically just doing the first thing and just like sitting at the computer, just like messing around until like something connects. And sometimes it still doesn't. Like, I don't know. I've kind of been back and forth with that, like even recently with like new ready set stuff. But slow process, but worth it, I hope.
Yeah. No, I am so looking forward to whatever you put out next. I can't wait. What was your favorite part of making Cherryland?
Um, hmm. I think like to me it was like fun kind of going through stuff that I've worked like there's a handful of songs that I had kind of finished like years before. Like there's stuff from like 2020 on there that like originally was gonna maybe be for like Only Child or something. and just never did that. And then I was like, wait a second, these are exactly like in line with what I'm trying to do now. And it's kind of just going back through those and like reworking them a little bit and just like seeing, where they were, 3, 4 years ago to now, and just seeing like actually just getting to that like final like stage, like the finish line on those. That's very fun. I think there's a handful on there that are like kind of older. And then also just like there's a couple ones where like they just came like so quick, and like I would just like get in this like little zone of like, dang, I just wrote like 4 songs this week, and I think they're all like really cool, and they're like kind of my favorite ones on the album. So kind of just both those things. Basically, just any time that it was coming like easily and naturally, I was like, yeah, I love this. This is great. And then when it wasn't, I was like, uh, I don't want to do it. But you got to have that, I think,
Mm.
balance.
One of my favorite songs on the album is Who You Really Are. And I was wondering if you could just talk a little bit about the meaning behind that song.
Yeah. That one is this sort. That one's like very much like the most like I guess just what's going on in my head during that time period. Like it was very weird for me because like for the past few years I've been like super super focused on like production and like writing for other artists and other projects and stuff, which I love. And that song's kind of about like trying to figure out like the balance of like what do I want to do like creatively for myself? How do I like save that type of energy for this? And like just I don't know, just kind of like how to stop thinking so much about, what I'm supposed to do. Like, what's the path? Like, where am I supposed to be? Like, where do I view myself? How do other people view me? And just kind of being like, stop doing that. That's pretty much what that one is. And that's kind of why, like, I wanted that to be the first one that came out as like the first single, because like it's definitely not the like the obvious single. It's the most like chaotic. There's like a million parts. It's supposed to feel very like frantic and just like jarring because that's like, that's what kind of was going on. So I was like, when I put that out, I was like, if people are into this, I feel like they'll probably be cool with like a lot of the other new stuff because, I wanted to throw like the wildest one out there first. And that's another one that like when I play that live, I'm like, what was I doing? Like I was just sitting at the computer, like I was like recording vocals, being like, yeah, this will be no problem. This should be really easy to sing. I don't need to breathe, no problem. But that's I think kind of what it's supposed to feel like is just like tension, chaos.
Yeah, that's crazy. And one of the things I have to say about your live shows is the energy that you put into these shows is incredible. And a lot of your songs, I don't know how you do it because singing along, like when I listen to it in my car, I can't keep up. And I don't know how you do it live and still stand breathing on stage because it's very quick, some of the lyrics.
Yeah, yeah. I That's another thing too. I like it used to be very easy when I was touring a lot. I was like, it was like muscle memory. Like
Mhm.
every single note, every single like knowing when to like move around at a certain point. It was so, so easy. And I was like, yeah, my voice holds up perfectly fine, no problem. And then just doing these like kind of one-off shows, I'm like, oh man, I need to be like singing more or like practicing because it really does like kind of get harder when you just like aren't really doing it. Because now if I'm singing, like I'm just tracking vocals for like a day and it's fine. I'm like taking breaks, no problem. But you forget like there's so much like adrenaline and like almost like in a way where I feel like I have to like recently I'm like I have to like dial it back because like I'm gonna be totally like gassed out after like the third song and there's like 15 more. um, yeah, but I think I used to just like go so hard in a way where I was like, it's really fun. And then looking back, I'm like, maybe I was going slightly too hard for like some of these songs that are like just like, pleasant pop songs. So now I guess there's some stuff that is a little more like aggro and stuff. Like I feel like Who You Really Are is a good example of like that's like a going crazy type thing. But yeah, it's not the easiest thing. I think I just need to like sing on a treadmill or something. That'll help, right? That'll
I
help.
don't know. That sounds crazy to me, but I think a lot of people do that to build up the
Yeah,
stamina
yeah,
for
yeah.
these tours. So the other night we had the VMAs and we had performances from Sabrina Carpenter and Katy Perry. I was wondering who are some current artists that inspire you?
Mhm. That's a really good question. It's all over the place. I'm gonna look at my Spotify right now,
Oh
actually,
yeah.
what I've been listening to. What's on the liked songs? What do we have? It's literally all over the place. Like I'll like just find something I hear, add it to the thing, and then it'll just stay in this like rotation of like the only things I listen to. I've been super into Subi Club. I like The Help a lot. Two Hollis is sick. That's been a pretty recent thing. I love the new Charlie XCX album,
Oh my
obviously.
God,
I
so
was
good.
yeah, you can't not like that. It was a pivotal moment. Chappell Roan is sick. I love everything she's doing. That's another one where it's like, yeah, duh, of course. I like the new Fred again stuff. A bunch of just like for me, like recently, I think a lot of stuff I'm really inspired by is just like unique production and people who are like pushing sonic things in like a cool direction. Just because there's like, I mean, obviously there's so many songs and like artists coming out every day, like just thousands of things that now it's like I really like stuff that feels like it's not just like here's a song, I hope it works. It's like people who you can tell have like spent so long on like detail stuff, especially with production, because that's like how I spend like 99% of my time. It's just like doing production stuff. So when I hear something that I'm like, that person cared so much to make this one tiny little moment that you hear like just in like the far like stereo section for like 1 second that most
Mhm.
people would notice. I'm like, yeah, cool. I love that. Yeah, a lot of dance stuff too, just like electronic stuff like that. But it's all over the place, honestly.
Yeah, that's how my music taste is too. And I also do the same thing. Like I hear a song and then I just get stuck listening to that one song or that one
Mhm.
album. But yeah, Brat and Chaperone, those are like heavy rotation right now.
For sure, for sure.
So one thing we have in common is we both have a few tattoos. I don't know,
Mhm.
somehow I started with one and now I think I have 15. I don't know how it happens. They add up. I was wondering which tattoo you have is your favorite and what the significance behind it is.
Um, I have a few favorites. Some of them don't really have any significance, honestly. I just kind of like picked stuff that I thought was cool. I have this one that's a crow that I like a lot. I have that, and then I also have this like you can't really see it, but I have this like black goat thing there. It's kind of hard to see, but those both I like. I don't know. They're animals that I feel like people I have a lot of animal tattoos, but they're like animals that I feel like people look at as like creepy or like a bad omen or whatever. But like to me, I'm like, no, they're not at all. Crows are extremely smart and funny, and goats are funny too, and they're nice. And I like that, you know, dark thing that isn't dark. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense.
Those are the like, I don't know, lighter meaning ones. I have this eight here. It's like a holding my arm weird.
Oh,
It's like
nice.
eight of hearts. Me and my wife both have eight
Oh,
tattoos. She has like a Roman numeral eight because we like started like dating each other in August 8th, so double eight thing. So
oh,
it's cute. Um, yeah, probably those. But I have a lot that yeah, they're I lose track of them, but then I want to get more. Well,
oh my gosh. I think I don't want any more. And I'm
yeah,
too scared to get any removed because I don't like pain, even though I have 15 tattoos. Like I don't like needles, don't like pain.
yeah,
But
it's so fun.
I don't know. My favorite, kind of like you, I have a matching one with my boyfriend. Our first trip together was Solving. I don't know if you're familiar with Solving. It's like a
Mhm.
little like Danish town.
Yeah,
We got matching windmills on our hands.
nice. I love that.
Very, very fun.
Yeah, they're
It,
not fun to get. They're not fun at all. I got my stomach done, and I was like, I know this is gonna suck so much. So I like on the way to the tattoo appointment, I like put like lidocaine on it and like wrapped it in saran wrap. So then when he did like the outline, I didn't feel anything. And then he put more lidocaine on, so I didn't feel any of the shading or anything. So I fully got out like free of pain for like the most painful spot, kind of. So I was just like, yep, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it.
Oh, I can't even imagine. The worst pain to me, because I have a lot like on my fingers and on my hands, is the closer it gets to your elbow,
Yeah.
that bone, worst pain of my life.
Yeah, there's always like a way, like I'll be fine through most of it. And there's always like on each of my tattoos, one moment, like one section that like they'll go over and I'm like, I just get this like wave of like nausea and I'm like really hot and I'm like, what was that? And
Yeah,
then it's always one little spot and I can never predict where it's gonna be. It's so weird.
yeah. Oof. Yeah. I think I'm done.
Yeah.
But if you couldn't tell, I cover a lot of horror on my YouTube channel. And with Halloween right around the corner, I was wondering what your favorite Halloween candy is, and if you have a couple recommendations for some horror movies.
Yeah. My favorite Halloween candy, I guess it's just a normal kind of candy that you could eat at any season. But I'm a big Reese's guy. So anytime that's in the mix, I'm going crazy over there. Oh, actually, no, I'm gonna say the pumpkin, the Reese's pumpkin, because it's more fun that it's pumpkin shaped. So that, and then let me think. I guess like some of my favorite horror movies. My favorite is, and I guess it's not really that scary. I just think it's like shot so cool and has like a beautiful soundtrack as It Follows. Like when
Oh
I saw
yeah.
that, I was like, yeah, this is it. I love this. So that I guess vaguely horror, more psychological is like Vivarium. I like that a lot. And then for recent stuff, I really liked Skinamarink,
Oh
and
yeah.
I thought Long Legs was good. I
Oh
liked
my
that.
God. So good.
Yeah.
I want to sing like Nicolas Cage and Long Legs, like about like just like daily things. Like if I could have Starbucks now, it would be nice. But I
Yeah.
don't. I refrain from it. But just those scenes of him singing are hilarious to me.
It's so good. It's like the most Nicolas Cage that Nicolas Cage could be. Like
Yeah.
it's he killed it in that. It's so good. Um I know there's so many more. I'm just like so bad at remembering what they are. But yeah, those would probably be like some of the higher ranking ones. But It Follows for sure. When I heard that or saw that, I was like, this is just like I've never seen anything that looks like this. Like it's such like a like I don't know, just like a dream feeling weird, like dredgy thing. And it's like the music was so like synthy and pretty. I was like, this is
Yeah.
such a weird like juxtaposition that I was like, yeah, that sick.
No, I love that movie. Those are really good recommendations. Before we go, are there any things that you have coming up that you're able to talk about?
Yeah, I'm doing a show in New York. It's the same Cherryland show that I did in LA. That's on October 19th, which I guess would kind of warrant it being vaguely Halloween themed. So I'm hoping there's a couple costumes in the mix. That, and then I am working on new Ready Set stuff. I'm not sure when I'm going to put that out, but it's in the works right now. Got a handful of things. Then yeah, I guess for Ready Set stuff, for now, that's pretty much it. No tours or anything. I'm sure I'll do some shows next year. Maybe some like festivals if that's in the cards. I would like that. Um, yeah, and then I guess like the rest of it for me right now is just like producing for other like artists and stuff. And yeah, I'm not very good at posting like anything ever. I kind of don't do very much of that. So yeah, you wouldn't know it, but I am busy.
But yeah, it was very nice to get to talk with you and get to catch up about Cherryland and just all your live performances and everything. Actually, before we go, I do have one embarrassing story, kind
All
of
right.
embarrassing story. Okay, so you had a record release party at Warner Brothers some amount of time ago. I don't know. Let's just say 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And I don't know how I ended up there, but I ended up there and there was an open bar, right? I think it was like one of the
Mhm.
first open bars I ever went to. So your boy had like a couple drinks. We won't say how many. And then after I went up to you to say like congratulations and you did like a show, you did a performance, so I wanted to just talk for a minute. And for some reason, I thought it was a good idea to suggest to you that you re-release Give Me Your Hand in time for Thanksgiving as Give Me Your Ham.
You know
And
what? I think I remember this.
no, no, don't. But I was thinking about that right now when I was like setting up everything and getting ready, and I was like, oh my God, that
That's awesome.
shenanigans. But we're in September now. There's still time for
That's
this
true.
Thanksgiving season.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, it's not a bad idea.
Oh
I
my
get it.
gosh.
I get it.
But thank you so much, Jordan, for joining me. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to hear your new music. And everybody go check out his show in October in New
Mhm.
York. I wish I could be there, but just have so much fun.
Gonna try. I'm gonna try.
Thank you, Jordan.
All right. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Bye.